All right, welcome everyone to the workshop today. You're in the right place if you're looking for how to generate more referrals. And we've got a very special guest today that I'm extremely excited to introduce, and I will introduce in just a minute. But before we do that, I want to take care of a couple of things. First of all, I want to acknowledge all of you for being here right now today, because you obviously care enough about your business and yourself to seek out new information that can get your business to the next level. And so you are to be acknowledged and congratulated for doing that. Now, that being said, I would strongly encourage you that to close down distractions, right? To close down the other browsers that you might have open, Facebook or Twitter or whatever, might be a distraction to you. Put your phone on vibrate for the next hour or so, right? Nothing's going to happen in the next hour that will cause irreparable damage, at least most likely, right? And give us your undivided attention for the next 50 or 60 minutes, because you're gonna get some information here that, if you're open to receiving it, and more importantly, take action on it, will change your business and consequently your life. But you have to be fully engaged, fully present, and then you got to take action on what you learn, right? And so I would strongly encourage you to do that. So get rid of those distractions and get fully present here. Number 2, you are going to want to have a pen and paper. Or, if you like to take notes on your iPad or your iPhone, whatever. But you're going to want to take notes, because there is going to be, at least one, if not several golden nuggets that will be shared that, if you miss them, then, you wasted your own time being here, right? So you want to make sure that you have those things so you know what to take action on after we're done. And number 3, and finally, we will stay on for Q&A. So you can use the question box in the GoToWebinar panel, and we'll do our best to answer as many, if not all of them, during the Q&A. Now, if we don't answer or address it right away, it's not that I'm ignoring it or Michael's ignoring it. We're just going to save the questions for the Q&A period, okay? So with those sort of housekeeping items out of the way, here's what I want to do. I'm just going to give a brief introduction to Michael Mayer. And for many of you, he needs no introduction at all. But here's what I'll tell you some bullet points, and then I'll tell you why I have him on here today. So he's the best-selling author of a book called The 7 Levels of Communication: Go from Relationships to Referrals. He's the father and founder of the Generosity Generation. What's not on the screen here is that he netted nearly $1 million in only his 3rd year of real estate in Kansas City. Okay? Kansas City, right? Not exactly, some sort of mecca with extremely high average sale prices, right? So those are the bullet point reasons why. Here's why, for me, I've got him on. I know a lot of people in real estate, and although I've never personally met Michael, the feedback and the response that I have gotten from people who have seen Michael in workshops like what we're bringing you today has been nothing short of amazing. I mean, just the highest recommendation possible from our colleagues in this industry. And so that's why I wanted to have him on here today, because I know he's going to provide massive value to all of you. And if you will get fully present and fully engaged, be open to the information, and then take action on it, great things are going to happen for you. Great things are going to happen. So with that being said, Michael, I'm going to turn it over to you, and I've got my notepad and pen out because I'm a little old school still. I like to write stuff down. I'm going to be taking notes, and I'll move to moderator, and then I'll hop back on for some Q&A.
Well, thanks a ton, Josh. I appreciate it. And little did we know that Kansas City would get its new motto from this. And the new motto is Kansas City, not a Mecca. and you're exactly right. Kansas City is not a Mecca for high-end real estate. To even further disclose from the introduction is that my team is in Kansas City and fully functioning, doing very well, and I live in Atlanta. So the first disclosure and disclaimer is that we first need to discern between a job and a business, right? A job is somewhere where you have to go each day, and sometimes you like the boss and sometimes you don't like the boss, and it requires you for you to get paid. A business is something that is fully functioning without you, and you still get paid. So what I want to help you do today is look at things just a little differently. And I want you to go from looking at real estate as a job and look at it as a business. How do I create this business so that the efforts and activities that I do are fun and highly profitable, and because of the systems that are in place, do not require me. So first and foremost, I want you to know that. Secondly, Josh, I have to express my appreciation for your having me in front of your VIPs today. You treat your community as well as anyone that I've ever seen out there. Only the best of the best get to present, and I feel like that this is a milestone, and I'm extremely appreciative for the opportunity. So thank you. With that said, I'm going to move right into content and get going. So I've been on webinars before. I know how webinars need to go. It needs to go quickly, and it also needs to be action-packed and content-rich, and you're going to find that today's is that way. The 7L, this is the picture of the international bestseller, 7L, the 7 Levels of Communication. It's been endorsed by such luminaries as Dave Ramsey and Gary Keller and Howard Brenton and a lot of other people in the industry. But I'm not here to talk about that necessarily. My website is www.referral.guru. .guru is one of the new domains, and just so you know, number one, right? If you haven't learned anything else, maybe you wrote down create a business, not a job, but number one or number two should be to go out and get yourself your .guru, which is your city, your state, your community, your neighborhood, your zip code, whatever it may be. Go and get www.yourniche.guru if at all possible. When you do that, you have a new domain, and I truly believe that the .guru is the next .com. It's going to be very powerful. The other place that you can find me is at facebook.com/referralguru, and there's over 40,000 fans right now, thank God, and they're my community. I love them to death, and I provide something each and every day of value to them, and we continue to build that community. So I'd love to have you out there. All right, so the first step, what do we need to do first? The very first step in any creation, in any development, in any change, the first step is you have to change your mindset about how to get business. You have to change your mindset. And I want you to know that I am not here to blow your mind, so to speak. I know that you've heard about mind-blowing experiences and mind-blowing webinars and mind-blowing products and so on and so forth, but I want you to know I'm not here to blow your mind, okay? Because I truly don't believe that's how change is made. I don't believe that is how success happens. You see, a lot of people are looking for the magic pill. They're looking for the secret sauce. They're looking for a 180-degree turn. What people think is that, and especially real estate agents and mortgage professionals, is they think that them having success is this radical change in their business. And here's what I want you to know. Here's a quote that I want you to write down and take to heart. And that is, success is not a 180-degree turn. Success is a 1-degree tweak. Success is not a 180-degree turn. You do not have to completely blow up and change your business to have success. In fact, I highly suggest that you don't do it. You're doing a lot of things right. And it's the 1-degree tweak that will make all the difference in the world. They say that large doors swing on small hinges. And what they mean by that is the little things make the big difference. Well, what you're going to see today is that there are all these little things that make the difference for you going from accidental referrals to a referral a day. And that's what you really want. It's not a 180-degree turn. It's just a 1-degree tweak. So the first step is change your mindset about how to get business. I need to tell you about the 3 critical business cycles that you need to know about. Okay, so the first one is one that a lot of you are quite familiar with, because this is the one that many people teach on. This is what training, if you look at sales training, they train you on the chase cycle. The other name for the chase cycle is what I call the cycle of discontent. So let's say you were chased, right? How many of you have ever been chased? Okay, you've been chased, and when you get chased by someone you don't know, what are your 2 responses? Right? You get chased. Your responses are fight or flight. Okay? Now, let's say you are chasing someone, and they have 2 options. It's fight or flight. Let's say they stand there, and they're getting ready for a fight. What do we know about that person? What we know is that that person was already looking for a fight, and we came into their space. And guess what? When you have somebody ready to fight and you're working with them, you're really not working with them. What are you having? When you're in a fight, another name for a fight is a battle. And that's exactly what you have the entire process when they're looking for a fight. Is the entire time you're working with them, they're just jerks. They're a pain in the butt. They were already looking for a fight, and you presented a great opportunity because you came in their life because you didn't know, like all of their former friends do, that you should avoid them. You didn't avoid them. You went right for them. They fight. You have a battle. You under-deliver because there's no way to deliver on a jerk's expectations. And what do you have to go back and do? You got to go back and chase, right? So this time you chase, and instead of fighting, they flee, right? They run away from you. And what are you taught in sales training? Traditional sales training, they teach you to what? Keep going, right? Keep chasing. Keep chasing. And all the time you're chasing, what's happening is you're over-promising. You're chasing and you're like, oh, no, I can sell your house in 2 days. And then and they're like, yeah, I don't think so. And they run away, right? And then you chase them some more and you're like, no. I can get you $10,000 over whatever the market value is. Seriously, right? And they're like, I don't know. And finally you chase them because you're such a wordsmith. You are a script master. You are the dominator of dialogues. And what do? You finally get them into a corner. You have chased them. Let's call it follow-up because that sounds so much nicer. You followed up to such a point that they are in a corner and they have one choice remaining. Fight. Now they fight you. And you have overpromised the entire time that you followed up and chased. You have one option in that transaction, and that is to underdeliver. There's no way you're going to sell their house in 2 days. There's no way you're going to sell it for $10,000 over market value. But you know what? That's what you had to do to get them to work with you. And you underdeliver. Now, how often do people where you underdeliver, clients that where you underdeliver, how often do they refer you, right? The answer is never. So what are you going to do more of? You got to go chase some more. And guess what? This is the cycle that eats people up inside. This is the cycle that puts a callus on your heart. This is the cycle that eats its young. This is the cycle that gets people out of real estate, out of mortgage, out of business. This is the cycle of discontent. But guess what? If there's a chase cycle, if there's this negative cycle, there must be a what? There must be a positive cycle. And God bless America, there is. It's the referral cycle. Okay? Now, the referral cycle is not a chase cycle. It's an attract cycle. People come to you. Business comes to you. Referrals come to you. Now, when a referral comes to you, you can do one thing, and honestly, I see this mistake happen quite often in business, is that we forget to tell the referrals the truth. And we need to tell them the truth. We can tell them the truth that, listen, you may make 5 offers before you get your house. You may lose out on 4 houses. You may lose out on 7 houses. You may pay over asking price. You may have 100 things wrong with the house during inspections. The seller may do absolutely 0 things during negotiations of inspections. You may buy the house as is, right? We can tell them the truth, and that equals under-promising, right? We tell them the nuclear case, and then what happens, right? We go from the truth to we have an opportunity. They come in, they get the first house that they bid on. They get it for full price instead of paying $10,000 over. They have inspections done. 47 things come up instead of 100. And when you ask the seller to do 5 or 6 items, the seller does all 5 or 6 items. What is the response from the client? The response is wow, right? It's wow. You have over-delivered because you have under-promised. And when you over-deliver, guess what happens? They go out as raving fans, as ambassadors, and they give you more referrals. And these referrals come in, and you get to under-promise and over-deliver. You get to tell them the truth. You get to wow them, which is fun, and you get more referrals. Isn't that a pleasant cycle? Hey, get on the attract cycle. Get on the referral cycle. And so people ask me all the time, how do I get on the referral cycle? And this next slide is going to show you how. To get on the referral cycle, we need to understand this very, very, very powerful next cycle. This next cycle can change your life. The next cycle is called the generosity cycle. Now, as most of you know, I'm the father and founder, the proud father and founder of the generosity generation. And I want you to know that you're in it. We're in it. I was telling people it was coming. It's here now. We're in the middle of it. And those who are running the generosity cycle and the referral cycle are winning. And I mean in a big, big way, as in walking across the stage, getting the big medals, and getting the really heavy awards. But they don't care about those awards. They don't care about those medals. You know why? Because they have such an enriched life that they don't even care about the dust collectors anymore. Powerful. The generosity cycle goes like this. This is how to get on the referral cycle. We need to look at it like a bicycle for business. The bicycle has 2 wheels. The front wheel is the referral cycle. That's what we talk about. That's what we want. That's what people know. Well, if you're on a bike, you know that it's really the back wheel that propels you forward. And the back wheel on your bicycle or business is the generosity cycle. This is the back wheel. And we need to lead with generosity, okay? Now, I want you to know, this isn't something Michael Mayer created. Now, I did create the cycle. I did create the steps. But I did not create the thought, right? That's a thought. It's a promise, in fact, that's over 2,000 years old. Yes, in Proverbs 11:25, it says, a generous one shall be a prosperous one, And what a powerful promise that is. It doesn't say, oh, all of a sudden you're prosperous, well, you better be generous. Or a prosperous one should be generous. It doesn't say that. What it actually says is a generous one shall be a prosperous one. So it starts just like the generosity cycle starts with generosity. Well, here's the thing. When you're out there giving, being generous, putting your love in action. Oh, did he say the L word? Yes. Putting the love in action, which is what generosity is. It's love in action. And what happens when you do that is reciprocity kicks in. You give and you give and you give. People want to give back. And in fact, it's proven, right, that reciprocity will occur. Now, what we have to do is we have to train people that the way to reciprocate to us is referrals, right? That's the one thing, is that the finest way to compliment me is with your referrals. The finest way to thank me is with referrals. No, you know what? No, thank you for the gift. You know what? Don't worry about it. Here's what I'd like. When you come across a person that you know or somebody mentions real estate, do me a favor. Have them call Michael Mayer. Have them call me. That's all I ask in return. The finest compliment I receive, the true heart to my business is your referrals. So, referrals, now reciprocity leads to referrals. And as we know, the more referrals we get, the less we have to spend on marketing, promotion, and advertising. And so the more referrals we get, the more profitable our business is. And guess what? The more profitable our business is, the higher the stacks of money that come in, the more we get to have time, the more that we get prosperity. Prosperity equals time plus money. Prosperity equals time plus money, which equals freedom as well. So here's the deal. Generosity leads to reciprocity. Reciprocity leads to referrals. Referrals lead to profitability. And profitability leads to prosperity. But you know what? It doesn't end there. Prosperity leads to more generosity. But not just more generosity, but better generosity. Generosity at a higher level. And the higher you give, the higher the reciprocity will be. The better the referrals will be. The more the profit will be. And the more your prosperity will be. And that is a joyous cycle. I want you to know I live on that cycle. Millions of dollars. But it's not about the dollars. Isn't that funny? It's about generosity. It's about giving up front. So that's the first thing you need to know, is you need to know these critical business cycles so that you can get off the cycle of discontent, the chase cycle, and get onto the generosity cycle and the referral cycle. If you have questions about that, put it in the questions box now, because I really need to get into the myths. Okay? So before I get into the myths that I want to dispel, I want to do some myth busting because I'm tired of it. I'm frustrated with what's being taught out there, so I'm just going to bust 7 myths right out of the water, and then we can talk about it more later. Now, here's the deal. You have a thirst to be first, right? The reason that you're one of the hundreds on this today is because you are driven to succeed. You have a thirst to be first, and I want you to know that's okay. That's okay. Put your drive, the energy of your drive, in the right place, right? Keep feeling the need for being first. But I want you to be the first in love. I want you to be the first in moral excellence. I want you to be the first in generosity. Do you know who said that? It was, you're like, well, Michael, you just said that. Somebody said it before I said it, and I'm quoting them. And that person is Martin Luther King. Keep feeling the need for being first. And why did he say that? He said that because people will steal because they feel like that's the way to move up the ladder, right? They will deceive. They will lie. They will swindle. But you know what Martin Luther King said? He said, keep feeling the need for being first. Take those calloused hearts and shave the calluses off of them and let your heart beat, right? Freely. How would you like to be in a business that you love to go on every single day, and you don't have to feel like you're lying, cheating, swindling, or convincing someone of doing something, right? Be the first in love. Be the first in moral excellence. Be the first in generosity. Martin Luther King. Powerful. So let's dispel some myths so that we can get on the generosity cycle and on the referral cycle. There's 4 quantity myths that I'm going to blow out of the water. There are an asking myth. Ooh, that'll be a fun one. Can't wait to run that by you. The awards myth, and then the hope myth. Okay? So there's 4 quantity myths that you have been fed all your life. And in sales, this is what they tell you. It's a numbers game, right? They tell you that bigger is better. They tell you that there's a magical number of touches. They also tell you, blast everyone. Everyone is equal. You never know who's going to refer you. Bull puckies, right? All right, so remember, here's the deal. Here's the transformation mentally. I told you it's a 1-degree tweak. This 1-degree tweak is go from a mindset of quantity to a mindset of quality. You want a quality of life, right? So how do we do that? First of all, myth number 1 is it's a numbers game. Here's the truth. The truth is it's a relationships game. And maybe it's not just business that's a relationships game. Maybe it's life. But let's stick with business, right? So here's the teaching point around if it's really all about relationships, let's learn how to build great relationships. And I have to be quite honest with you, that is what's near and dear to my heart. I shave the calluses off hearts, and I allow people to speak from the heart, work from the heart, listen to their heart, and succeed with heart. So the first one is he who has the most friends wins. And that's the truth. He who has the most friends wins. It doesn't mean that you have to hang out with people all the time. It just means how can we increase our likability so that we can make friends faster. That doesn't mean that you have to marry them. It doesn't mean that you have to hang out with them. What it means is you have to learn how to impress and be friends with people very quickly. The top producers are phenomenal. They have a high likability. So how do we become more referable? Well, we need to know the 3 C's of referability. The 3 C's of referability are character, yes, character, moral excellence, correct? High integrity, honesty, doing the right thing, even if it may cost you some money. What's in the best interest of the client? Just had a situation yesterday where we have a new agent, one of the new agents on our team, has a situation where the seller and the lender and the listing agent want to close this week. However, they want to give possession 7 to 10 days later. Now, you might think that's no big deal, but who is that in the best interest of? It's in the best interest of everybody except the client. And in fact, this agent is fairly new, would really like the money. But you know what? She made the right decision. She said no, and they worked out a closing and possession that's much closer, and I mean much, much closer. The bottom line is you've got to take the money out of the equation and do what's right every single time. Character. And I have to tell you something on that, is there's a lot of stuff out there about branding, right? It's about your brand, and you created your logo and your slogan and your motto and your values and your vision and your purpose and your mission and blah, 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 right? And all that stuff. And the thing is that none of that matters, right? You can buy a brand. You can buy another company. You can create a brand in 37 seconds. But here's the thing. You cannot change your reputation. Or at the very least, it's extremely hard to bend your reputation, to mend it, right? So protect your reputation at every instance, right? Now, that's the first C, is character. The second C is competence. Competence. You need to be good at what you do to get referrals. And in fact, there are jerks, or at least not really nice people, but they happen to be really good at what they do, so they do get some referrals, right? Now, I'm not saying that's the strategy you should go for, right? Because they may have money, but they may not have any friends, and, you know, they'll be buried with their money, but not have any friends there to see it, right? So competence. So become better at your job. And guess what? I'm preaching to the choir there. Hundreds of you are on this line right now, and you are the competent ones. So I'm not worried about that. And you know who else is not worried about that? Is the National Association of Realtors. Why is the National Association of Realtors not worried about your competence or even your character? Isn't that interesting? The reason that they're not worried about your character, your honesty and integrity, and they're not worried about your competence, how well you do your job, and so on and so forth, because you know what? Neither one of those are the number one complaint that they face from NAR and from the Real Estate Commission on a yearly basis. The number one complaint that they face and that they hear about you is the third C of referability, and that is communication. The third C of referability. You can have the best character in the world, you can do the best job in the world, and not get referrals because of either not communicating or because of how you communicate. Those, and the number one complaint at NAR is lack of communication or problems with communication. So those are the three C's of referability. Here's the thing. Make it about you and you lose. Make it about them, and you both win. The focus is quality over quantity. Here is a sentence that you may want to write down. It's actually a question, okay? And I ask this all the time. The question is, how do we make this the biggest win for you? Or how do I make this the biggest win for you, Mr. Seller? Or how do we make this move the biggest win for you, Mr. Buyer? Okay? How do I make it about them and you both win? And that is a very key mindset as you work your referral cycle business. Now, here's the other thing. Myth number 2, you've heard this. Bigger database equals bigger results. You know, supposedly there's a formula out there that will tell you that X number in your database equals X numbers of business. Unfortunately, me and my coaching clients, over 5,000 right now, are finding out that that is absolutely the biggest myth ever put out there. The truth is that the better database will lead to better results. That makes a lot of sense, doesn't it? So what are the teaching points around that? Here is, you want a 1-degree tweak that will make you successful, make you breathe freely, and let you sleep well at night, right? Dunbar's number is a number, it's actually, the number is 150. Okay? Professor Robin Dunbar has done a lot of studies on community, relationships, and the size of our neocortex, which is essentially the part of the brain that makes us human. And according to Dunbar's research, which is extensive research, and just so you know, Facebook has essentially proven Dunbar's number and has lent it even more credibility, is that we cannot build more than 150 solid relationships. And when I say solid, I want you to read referral relationships. So guess what? Your database doesn't matter. It's your 150 that matter. And in Boost, one of the trainings that we do, we talk about your Boost 150, and we educate people on who should be in that 150 to get you the most amount of referrals and the most amount of quality relationships. Here is the key. This is the key. It's much more about knowing more about a few than knowing less about a lot. The fact of the matter is you probably don't know very much about a lot of the people in your database. Well, the nice thing is you don't have to worry about it, because what you're going to do is you're going to focus on a few and learning more about a few. That is an extremely powerful statement. Next, okay, is the relationship scale. We build relationships wrong historically, right? And unfortunately, this is because of the training in the real estate field. So here's the deal. Here is the relationship scale. Okay, 1 to 10, 0 to 10, excuse me. A 0 is somebody you've never met. That makes sense. Now, 1 through 3 is somebody you don't have chemistry with. For one reason or another, it just doesn't work. 4 through 7 is cordial and friendly. People you hang out with, right? Either a lot or a little bit. An 8 is a client. A 9 is defined as a champion. And just as you're writing this down, a champion is someone who's ever referred you. They've referred you, regardless of outcome. I've gotten many, many referrals where it turned out that the person couldn't get a loan or just wasn't ready to buy or sell or whatever it may be, right? But the thing is that referral source took a chance and referred me. So they're a champion. And then ambassadors. I mean, I don't know if you noticed, my voice changed. Ambassadors are why I'm speaking to you now. It's why my book was a bestseller. It's why we could net nearly $1 million in our third year. And ambassadors are why I can live in Atlanta and the Kansas City business thrives, right? An ambassador is multiple referrals every single year. They are people to be appreciated, loved, and hugged, and so on and so forth. Now, but here's what's interesting, right? What's interesting is we're taught in real estate to go person to person, and I'm going to be a little ridiculous about this, but it's the truth, is we go and we meet someone, and it's like, are you looking to buy or sell? No. Okay. Go to the next person. Are you looking to buy or sell? No. Okay. And then you go to the next person, it's like, are you looking to buy or sell? And they go, yes. And you like, oh my gosh, hello, how are you? You give them a big hug and you welcome them into your existence, and all of a sudden you're trying to be their best friend, right? So point number 1 is from now on, don't look at people as potential clients. Look at people as potential referral sources or potential champions, if you will, right? Look at people as potential champions instead of looking at them as potential clients, because honestly, them being a champion is more important and has more value to your business than them being a potential client. True story. Now, what do we typically do? This is what's so funny. What do we typically do? When we meet someone, we typically want to meet them, and how fast are we judging? Yeah, 7 seconds. We are making a first impression judgment in 7 seconds. Well, guess what? Other people are making a first impression judgment on you in 7 seconds as well. But what's interesting about that is that you are making a judgment, you talk to them, and you are instantly trying to put them in one of 2 buckets. You're trying to put them in the no chemistry bucket or the cordial and friendly bucket. And just so you know, that's not your fault. That's evolution speaking. We see a person coming over the horizon, right, back in the tribal days, and we see the person, we're looking at them, we're like trying so hard. We are looking at every ounce of them, and we are trying to determine friend or foe. Because if they are friend, then we're going to welcome them with open arms, right? If they're foe, we need to be ready for a fight. Well, that's what we do. And all of a sudden, people come into our lives, we put them in the no chemistry, or we put them in the cordial and friendly. And I want you to know something. You're missing out on all the referrals, because there are no referrals that happen in this up to 7 range. Up to 7. That's why your best friend hasn't referred you. That's why, is because there's no momentum in the relationship. So what do we got to do? We got to bust through. We got to build a relation from here through the 1 through 3, through the 4 through 7, past the 8, and into what I call the referral zone, which is the 9 and 10 area. So, and we teach the momentum system in Boost. I don't have time to go into it now, but just know that it's giving massive value first. Lead with generosity. And what happens is reciprocity happens. Well, guess what? When you receive referrals through reciprocity, what do you feel the urge to do with that other person? You feel the urge to reciprocate back to them, give back to them. And you give back to them, guess what happens? It comes back. You see, these 0 through 7 relationships are what's called homeostatic. They're balanced. They're where they're going to be. Versus relationships in the referral zone are harmonic. They're like up, down, up, down. They're like a teeter-totter where you're throwing a bag of value or a bag of money, if you really want to look at it that way, back and forth. And guess what? What's really cool about this teeter-totter is the more you play on the teeter-totter, the bigger the bag of money gets. And the happier both of you get, and the stronger you both get. And the stronger the teeter-totter gets, which is the relationship. That's a harmonic relationship. That's powerful. That's being in the referral zone with that relationship. So here's myth number 3. Myth number 3 is you should touch your database a certain amount of times. I am going to probably make some people mad with the next slide, and I'm okay with that because I want the truth out there. I'm willing to tell the truth and let the cards fall where they may fall, right? You should touch your database a certain amount of times. Well, here's the truth. It's the quality of the touches, not the quantity. It's the quality. Doesn't that make sense, right? So let's talk about sense. Oh, yeah, you're going to hate me. If it's an email or a postcard, it does not count as a touch, right? I've heard people having 12 touch, having 33 touch, having 36 touch, having 48 touch. I've heard the whole 9 yards. And really, it's just a bunch of trash. It's a bunch of emails and postcards, which, by the way, your email goes into the trash, your postcard goes into the trash. Just because you sent it doesn't mean they got it, right? But here's the deal. I could tell you that. I could give you the frustration that you might have with your 33 email campaign that you just set up for 2014. But here's the thing, is I'm not going to just tell you that it's trash. I'm going to tell you where the value is, right? If I'm going to tell you where the trash is, where the garbage is, I need to tell you where the gold is. And let me tell you where the gold is. It's phone calls, events and seminars, and one-on-ones. So the first thing is one phone call overcomes a year. 365 days of perceived indifference and is more powerful than your 33 email program. One phone call is more powerful than 33 emails. Period. One phone call. Imagine what would happen if you would hold an event or even have a one-on-one with that person. What we are finding, research after research, now that we've got all these coaching clients and all this empirical evidence of the power of the generosity generation and the power of the 7L system, is that one-on-ones are critical to referrals. What we need to do is work at the top of the communication pyramid as explained in 7L, the 7 levels of communication. We need to work in these 4 areas. Well, that makes sense. Handwritten notes, phone calls, events and seminars, one-on-one meetings. That makes sense, but the fact of the matter is we ask these agents when they start with us what they're doing in those 4 categories, and the truth is either not much or nothing. And it's like, okay. So we start doing those, guess what happens? They get referrals, they get business, their phone blows up, and they double, triple, quadruple, and we've had even people quintuple, which is 5 times, their business. So we need to work in the top of the pyramid. It makes sense, right? And you should all have this pyramid printed, put into a frame, and put on your desk or put on your wall as a daily reminder to stay in what we call the influential zone. I don't have time to go into the influential zone a ton, but just know that this is where the magic happens, right? This is how to get into the referral zone. Now, here's myth number 4. I did this. I screwed this up. I cannot tell you how many thousands of dollars I threw down the drain because of what was told to me and what I was sold, to be honest with you. And that was stay top of mind with everyone, right? What we do is we send a football schedule to everyone in our database, or we send a calendar to everyone in our database, blah, 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 blah. And the truth of the matter is they throw it away, or they never even get it, or we send our favorite football team's schedule. Think about this for a second. We are sending our favorite football team's schedule to people who root for other teams. Yes, I sent a Kansas City Chiefs schedule to one of my ambassadors who is a huge Denver Bronco fan. Okay, that was not a good move. Luckily, we had a good enough relationship to save it. But the bottom line is, why the heck do we do that? Okay, here's one. Josh just saved you thousands of dollars, because the answer is don't do that. The truth is, knowing is always better than wondering. Knowing is always better than wondering. So how do we know? Well, the first thing that we need to do is we need to grade our database on one criterion, not criteria. That would be multiple things to grade it on. There's one reason you have a database. It's to get referrals. That's why you have a database, is to get referrals. So doesn't it make sense that we should grade our database based on how often they refer us, or the value of the homes and people they refer us, right? Those who refer us $1 million homes should probably get more attention than those who refer us $60,000 homes. Okay, that's the truth, period, right? I'm not saying it's good, bad, or ugly. It's the truth. Here's the other thing. The person who refers us 9 people a year should probably get more communication and more time, energy, effort, and money from us than the person who gives us 0 referrals. That makes sense, right? That people have different values to your business. Now, I did say money to ambassadors, and I want you to know, that's the worst thing you can do, is give money to an ambassador. In fact, RESPA says it's illegal, so that helps us in a huge way. The bottom line is they're actually preventing us from creating relationship suicide, because as soon as you dollarize or monetize a relationship, it's all of a sudden it's about the Benjamins. It's no longer about having a great relationship. It's about money. And unfortunately, once you go there, it's really hard to get back out of it, right? I mean, let's say you paid them something, and then they give you another referral, and you don't pay it because you forgot or it just didn't turn out or whatever. They're going to be looking for the money instead of actually wanting to build a great relationship with you. That's another lesson that can save you hundreds and thousands of dollars. Don't monetize a relationship. Don't dollarize it, okay? Now, there are 2 ways to judge whether somebody is going to refer you or not. Would you like to know those? Oh, you know what? I'm sorry, we're out of time. Just kidding. We still got 12 minutes left, and I've got about 10 minutes of content, and then we're going to get to your questions. So there are 2 qualifying questions to find out whether somebody is going to be a good referral source or not. Here are the 2 questions. Yes, I'm going to give them to you. I'm not going to hide them. I'm not going to put them in a product. I'm not going to. They are in the book, but I'm going to give them to you. Number 1 is every person in your database should be asked by you at some point, what are your goals? And you might think, wow, that's a good question, but how does that get me referrals? Well, guess what? Those who have goals are those who are great referral sources. And just so you know, the flip side works as well. Those who don't have goals tend not to be great referral sources. So just by asking someone what their goals are and them sharing their goals allows you to determine whether they're going to be a good referral source or not. Okay? That's awesome. I mean, come on, how awesome is that? Seriously. The second one is a question that I literally ask dozens of times a day. And this is to anybody new, anybody I don't know. I just asked this to 2 doctors the other day. Actually, today, excuse me, it's this morning. And that was, if a friend or neighbor were looking to sell their home, who would you recommend they call first? Right? So if a friend, and you're going to ask it very neutrally, right? You're just going to ask. You're curious. If a friend or neighbor was looking to sell their home, who would you recommend they call first? And you wait for the answer. And they're going to give you 4.5 answers. Now, I don't have time to give you those 4.5 answers, but I want you to know that I do go into detail on how to maximize each of those 4.5 answers in Boost, one of the trainings that we do. So if a friend or neighbor were looking to sell their home, who would you recommend they call first? Well, here's the deal. A couple of those answers are pretty good, right? One is you. They would say, well, you, of course. And at that point, you say, well, thank you. What do you like about what we do? And they're going to tell you, right? And then you go, well, what could we do better? Right? You're just going to get into curiosity about how, obviously what your branding is working, and also find out what you can do better, right? And then do better at whatever they say to do better. The other question that the answer that I get most often will blow you away. This is the number one answer I get from people who I don't know. And what's funny is the answer is, I don't know. If a friend or neighbor was looking to sell their home, who would you recommend they call first? I don't know. Here's the answer to that. Well, what would it take for me to be that professional? What would it take for me to be that professional? And for those of you that know NLP and embedded commands, you know that ending that with that professional and that professional, it implies that you're a professional, right? And it says, what would it take for me to be that professional, right? What characteristics are you looking for? Or what would it take for me to be that professional? And that professional is that one you refer, right? So powerful. And like I said, I don't have time to go into that in a lot of detail, but the bottom line is those two questions will allow you to decipher who will be great referral sources and who won't. All right. So those are the 4 quantity myths. The thing that you need to know is you need to go from quantity to quality with your mindset. It's not the quantity of touches. It's the quality of the touches. That makes sense, doesn't it? I mean, a phone call is more powerful than an email. Duh. A handwritten note is more powerful than a direct mail piece, postcard. Duh. Right? It makes sense. Why don't, common sense is not always common practice, except with the 7L system. Now, it's not the quantity of people in your database. It's not. It's the quality of people in your database. If somebody has a database of 150 people who are referring them, and another person has a database of 15,000 who are not referring them, which database would you buy? Yeah, it's that easy. A focus on quality will lead you to a quantity of quality. You will all of a sudden have a bigger problem. You will have too many quality relationships in your life. That is a great, great place to be. All right. So this one's also gonna probably irritate some people, but once again, it's good to get the truth out there, right? The asking myth is that you should ask for referrals. You've been maybe told that once or a million times. If you've been in the business 27 years, you've heard it 27 times. If you've been in the business 1 year, you probably heard it 2 or 3 times. Here's the key. You need to remember that a transformation that you need to make mentally is go from selling. You think of the selling as taking. Did you know that the root word of sell, like to sell, actually means, it's sorvar, it actually means to serve? Did you know that? Selling is actually a form of serving. So what we have to do is our mindset needs to be in a serve first, serving mentality and mindset. So here's the deal. Myth number 5 is you should ask for referrals. But the truth is you shouldn't. And the truth is you should have more referral conversations. Please write that down. Have more referral conversations. So what's the teaching point? Dear God, yes, I said that out loud, please, no more asking. When you ask for referrals, not that you are, and I know you're not, and the reason you're not is because you're a good person. Yes, you have fought this for years. People tell you to ask, you don't ask. And you don't ask because, you know what? who is that question really about? Right? That question is a very selfish question. It's about you. That's why you can't ask it. So do me a favor. Don't ask for referrals. But, on the other hand, here's a thought. Okay? It's not about asking. It's about having more referral conversations. So all of a sudden, and I want you to know that this was an epiphany for me and took me from 150 referrals to 500 referrals in 1 year. 1 year. 2003 to 2004, I went from 150 referrals to 500 referrals. So here's the thought, is who would actually enjoy a referral conversation with you? Who would love to talk about referrals, right? And you start thinking about it, and you start thinking about people, and you start thinking about, here's the key, please write this down. What professions would enjoy referral conversations with you? Here's the next question. If you were going to build an army of ambassadors, an army of unpaid salespeople, who would be the best people to recruit for your army of unpaid salespeople? Yes, the answer is salespeople. That makes sense, doesn't it? Salespeople, entrepreneurs, attorneys, self-employed, business owners, financial planners, insurance agents, service industry professionals, right? So all of a sudden, who you talk to changes because they're more than willing to have a referral conversation, right? They're more than willing to have a referral conversation with you. I want you to know something. This Mythbuster is an extremely important mindset shift because all of a sudden the quality over quantity makes sense because there are people in your database who don't want to talk to you about referrals. And the answer is you don't want to talk to them about referrals either. But there are people who want to talk about referrals. They want to have more referral conversations. And we teach dozens of ways to do that in Boost. Now, here's the awards myth, okay? And what we need to do is we need to go from awards to awakening, okay? Here's the thing. You've been told that you should set sales, transaction, and volume goals, right? How many of you have transaction goals, right? You want to do 36 or 300 or 360 or 600 transactions, right? And you've probably got volume goals, right? So that's the myth. The myth is you should set sales, volume, and transaction goals. Well, here's the deal. The answer is, you know what, you should have those types of goals. But the problem is who can you really share those goals with? The only person you can share with is your coach, maybe, your spouse, maybe, right? Your broker, maybe, right? But here's the thing. Is your coach going to use you as a realtor? The answer is probably not, right? Is your broker going to use you as a realtor? Probably not. And here's the thing. If your spouse is looking to move and use a realtor, you got bigger issues than referrals, just so you know. The truth is, you should have those goals. And more importantly, you need to set a referral goal. And in fact, you could not have sales volume and transaction goals and just have a referral goal, and you would achieve more. You would have more sales volume and transactions. So now I could just tell you to set a referral goal, right? Hey, set a referral goal, and then you might set one. But what if I told you the perfect referral goal? What if I told you the formula on how to set a referral goal that would maximize the number of referrals you would get, right? So here it is. I give 2 times as many referrals and receive 1 times as many referrals in a certain time period. Now that's the formula. Here's an example. I give 100 referrals and receive 50 referrals in 2014. Another example. I give 10 referrals and receive 5 referrals in the next 14 days. Those are both extremely powerful goals. The next thing to do with your referral goal is to share it everywhere. in your conversations? Remember, what did I say was one of the two discerning questions for a referral source? Yes, one is the Are You the Chosen One script, which is if you had a friend or neighbor who was looking to sell their home, who would you recommend they call first? The second one is what are your goals? Well, isn't it great that if they tell you a goal, then you know that they're going to be a referral source. You also know how to provide the most value in their life, what's important to them. The other thing that you know is that they're most likely to reciprocate the conversation. If they're going to talk about their goals, what are they going to ask you to share and talk about? They're going to ask you to share your goals. And guess what? You're going to share your referral goal. When you share your referral goal, what does that lead to? A referral conversation. And what do referral conversations lead to? Referrals. The other thing that you need to do with your goal, just like any good goal, is to track it. And we believe that somewhere visible is best. We track ours in Excel and also on whiteboards in the office. So imagine our clients coming to the office and they see our outgoing referral board with a long list of outgoing referrals. They see an incoming referral board with a list of incoming referrals. The outgoing is always longer than the incoming. Do you know what human nature does or wants you to do with two unequal lists? Yes, they want to make them equal. Well, guess what? How is the way to help us make our two lists equal? The fact of the matter is by referring us. And did we not just show, not tell, we didn't tell them referrals, we didn't put a sticker on our card that said, I love referrals, right? No, we have a referral goal and we are tracking it. So they know that we want and need referrals and they know that referrals are important to us. I know, I'm blowing you away, literally, with the content. I understand that you're not picking up all this. It's okay. Here's a couple of shots of outgoing and incoming referrals. Here's another one of our coaching clients who put his 2014 goal up. And, you could post this on your Facebook status. We'll post that again later. And, all right, so the last myth that I want to talk about is the hope myth. And remember, hope is not a strategy. What we need to do mentally is go from hope to faith, right? From hope to faith. What's the difference between hope and faith? Well, the myth is that referrals happen by accident, right? Whoa, just out of the blue, we got a referral. Well, that's a myth. The truth is referrals happen with purpose on purpose. When you have a purposeful, intentional plan, guess what happens? You get referrals. So here's the teaching point. You need to have a communication plan. You need to communicate with your ambassadors and champions differently than you communicate with just those that are friends and family. That's the truth. And you need a WOW referral system, a contract to close system that encourages and embraces referrals. So here's my question for this myth is who's somebody you thought of as I went through this presentation, like an ambassador, a champion. So who are you going to call today? And I want you to know something. The reason for your call is to have a one-on-one with them. Get together for coffee. Get together for lunch. Get together for happy hour. I don't care, right? And what's interesting about this is I want you to look at people differently, right? Is why did you think of that person? Right? And you might think, well, they referred me. And then I want you to think, why did they refer you? Why did that person, what makes up that person such a way that they refer you, right? There are other people who like you, trust you, respect you, and don't refer you, right? This person likes you, respects you, trusts you, refers you. And by the way, which is better? Which of these four would you prefer to be? Would you prefer to be liked? Would you prefer to be respected? Would you prefer to be trusted? Or would you prefer to be referred? Right? So the answer is referred. You would prefer to be referred. Why is that? Well, it implies action. So here's the other thing, is what are you going to say when you call? right? My encouragement is you know what? It's been a while since we got together one-on-one. Let's get together and let me find out from you, like, who is your ideal client? Like, who can I refer you? And the other thing I want to know is how best is to refer you. How is the best way to refer you? Those are two questions that will create more meetings for you. How is the best way to refer you, and who is the best type of person to refer you? So that is 7L. Now, I've already gotten some emails. I've already seen the questions come in, and people are wondering, all right, so do you offer coaching, right? That was one of the questions we got. The answer is yes, we do. Do you have access to the book? How do I get the book? Okay, I'm going to tell you all that, right? So here's the first thing. What do these people have in common? Dave Ramsey, Gary Keller, Tommy Hopkins, Zig Ziglar, Alan Dom, Barbara Corcoran, Todd Duncan, Howard Brinton, Larry Kendall, Bob Corcoran, no relation to Barbara Corcoran, Floyd Wickman, Bob Berg, Dr. Ivan Meisner, Dr. Tony Alessandra. What do they have in common? Well, they have one thing in common, and they all endorsed the 7L system. They've all endorsed it. And in fact, Dave Ramsey said the ability to build relationships is the backbone of a successful business. The phone call, the handshake, the lunch meeting, that's where business is done, and Michael J. Mayer knows how to do it. If you want to win in business, you've got to learn how to win with people, and the 7L system will show you how to do just that. So here's the deal. You can get the books, right? It's $20 for the book. It's $25 for the audio, which is now an international bestseller as well. Just came out about 9 months ago. And you can get those at 7lsystem.com, but hold your horses. I'm going to improve upon this, just so you know. Okay? I did the book, I did the audio, and it ended up that people contacted me about wanting more. That makes sense, right? Well, I look back at my career, and I look back and I found out I was an idiot, right? That's not exactly the greatest thing in the world to look back on and see. But the truth is that when I netted nearly $1 million, when I went from 150 to 500 referrals a year, did 186 transactions for 40.1 million, what was very interesting is that I did that with a team of 3. It was me, my wife, and an assistant. And what's interesting is that I did not have a business plan. And I always hesitate to share that because I have an MBA. I did not have a business plan because I was an idiot, right? Truthfully. And what's interesting is my MBA is in marketing and communication. Well, I didn't have a marketing plan either. So isn't that interesting? And I didn't have a business plan or marketing plan, but I did have one plan. I had a communication plan. And so when people came to me and said, we want more on the 7L system, I get it from the book, but I'd really like to have this ordered system. And so what we did is we created Boost. And I want you to know something. I don't create products to sell, right? I mean, I sell $1 million house. I make more than I could ever do with a training, right? I create products to make a difference. That's why I create products, is I want you and your life to change in a better way, even if it's a 1-degree tweak, right? So we have Boost. We created Boost. We've had over 5,000 people through Boost. And in Boost, you're gonna learn some magical things. You're gonna master a short phrase, and I mean like a short phrase, that empowers you to know who will give you referrals and who won't. Who will refer you and who will help you? Wouldn't it be great to know instead of wondering? Here's another thing that I have to tell you that is one of the biggest success stories of Boost, is we're going to help you discover the hidden treasures in your database that will produce tons of referrals. There are people in your database who are just begging to refer you. We're going to show you how to find them. Schedule just a little bit of time each week. It doesn't take a lot of time to get on the referral cycle and have a thriving referral business. The other thing is we're going to help you with know what to say to every person in your database that will produce referrals without asking for referrals. And here's the thing. We've had clients, we've had people who get a referral every single day. In fact, we've had people who get 2 referrals every single day while being in Boost. Yes, from the very first webinar that we do, people are getting referrals. Now, here's the thing, is some people get nothing out of Boost. And I have to be fully disclaimer with that, is that, but here's the thing, who are the ones who aren't getting anything out of Boost? Yeah, they're the ones that aren't implementing anything for Boost. And we make it very easy to do it. In fact, some of the stuff, we do it for you to make it easy. Now, Todd Duncan said, he's the former partner of John Maxwell. He's also the best-selling author of several books, including High Trust Selling and Time Traps. And he said the 7L system is the most reliable and sensible business building system I have ever seen in over 20 years of helping millions of salespeople succeed. If you follow this amazingly simple recipe, I guarantee success will follow you. High praise from a very powerful man. So what is Boost? Boost is 4 90-minute webinar trainings, just like you took today. And, oops, there we go. Whoa. So, what is Boost? Sorry about that. I think I just closed my PowerPoint. I have never done that before on a webinar. So, see? You can be as imperfect as me and still get a ton of people referring you. Isn't that amazing? And I really want to share with you what we're doing with Boost, because it's the best thing that I have ever done. So it's 4 90-minute webinars. It's March 4th, 11th, 18th, and 25th, which are Tuesdays. But what's interesting is that you don't necessarily have to write those down. Now, it's great to make the live training. Okay, on those Tuesdays. It's 1 to 2:30 Pacific or 4 to 5:30 Eastern. Here's the key. These webinars are recorded for your review. So what's the benefit of that? Well, you can stop, you can rewind, you can fast forward, you can do whatever you want to immerse yourself into the material. Also, you can take it from the convenience of your home in your pajamas, or you can take it from the convenience of your office in your pajamas. Classes are forming now for Boost March. This is the last chance. We've had over 5,000 boosters so far. So I kind of told you what you're going to learn. I kind of told you the format and how we do it. Here are some results. 28 agents, 3 weeks, 304 referrals. Jenny Williams said, Michael, since I've met you, you've totally changed my life, and I'm forever grateful for 7L and the generosity generation. Not only have you changed my life, but also the agents I coach in this business as well. Since Gen Birmingham, where we had 205 people show up to learn the generosity generation, it sure has spread. Then we followed up with Boost. We had a group of 28 follow up with Boost, and we earned an amazing 304 referrals in only 3 weeks' time. We're still learning and putting the systems in place. We all look forward to learning much more from you. Thank you. Jenny Williams, who is also a best-selling author, by the way. So here's the deal, right? So this is the Boost bundle. This is the 7L Success Package. Now, you could go to boostmarch.com right now and order this for $4.97. You could. We have people do that every single day. They go, they've heard about it, they were referred to it, they go to boostmarch.com and they sign up for $4.97. They get nothing to do that, right? Now, we do have perks that we do along the way, but they don't get any bonuses. Well, you're going to get a bonus. When you do Boost, we're also going to ship to you, on our dollar, the 7L audio so that you can listen to the 7L system in your car and become very accentuated to what we're doing, okay? Now, that's almost $550 in value. You're going to get Boost, which by itself is worth the $4.97. You're also going to get the audio as the bonus shipped to you for free. Now, 9 times out of 10, when I do this and present, the lowest that I've ever done this for is $297. I take $200 off based on the group that I'm speaking in front of because they're investing. Well, this is the best of the best. This is the best I've ever done. And you can get Boost March 4 and get the bonus by going to boostmarch.com. When you enter Josh VIP as the promotional code, ladies and gentlemen, you are going to get Boost and the audio for $197. For $197. Now, here's what's interesting, is do you think there's certain people who get more out of Boost, who are bigger boosters than others, people who become raving ambassadors of what we do? Well, guess what? We've tracked who those people are. That makes a lot of sense because that's what we do. And here's what we found interesting, is the fast action takers, those who take action first, are those who do the best with Boost. And those who, so what we want to do is we want to reward our ambassadors up front. You are more likely to be an ambassador the faster you take the action. So we're not only going to do Boost March, all 4 sessions for $497, and the audio as a bonus. We're going to bonus in the entire action guide. It's over 400 pages. It is the complete 7L system in a bound book for you to implement, and we're also going to include the blessings book, the same exact blessings book journal that I use every single day to write my appreciations and my affirmations and my notes throughout the day. Look at this. That's almost $1,100 of value. And for the first 10, here's the deal. God, what am I doing here? For the first 10, we are going to give you all of those plus the bonus. So you're going to get the blessings book. You're going to get the audio book. You're going to get the action guide, which people pay $497 for left and right. And I have to tell you that there have been lives changed and businesses changed just from the action guide. So you're going to get all that, plus you get the Boost, which is normally $497. All of that for $197 today for the fast action takers. When you go over there, you make it happen. You go to boostmarch.com. You click on it, and I've heard rumors already. I hear my office in the background, and there seems to be, like, sometimes people are having trouble getting in. That's okay. Josh VIP as the code. Enter the promotional code, enter your address, because we have to ship all of this stuff to you, and you are in for March's Boost. So for those interested in Boost March, go to boostmarch.com, enter your code, Josh VIP. The discount will automatically be calculated. $300 off just on Boost. I mean, doing Boost for $197 would be incredible. I mean, that's a heck of a value. But the fact of the matter is, we're also going to get you a blessings book, an action guide, and the audio book so that you can listen to it in the car. So you'll finish your order, and here's my deepest hope is, listen, this is for you only. You are a Josh VIP. The code only works for those listening to this webinar and seeing this webinar. Please, I ask of you, I mean, sometimes I know that you're told that, hey, share the code. So please do not share the code, because people are buying Boost for $497 left and right. So why would I want to sabotage my own sales, right? So that is the Boost offer. And I have to say thank you for being here today. I truly believe that the secret to life is to give generously and receive appreciatively. And you have given me your most valuable resource, time, today, and know that I am receiving that very, very appreciatively. I am very appreciative of you, your time, your effort, your energy, and your being here today. Thank you for being here today. I truly appreciate it. And Josh, the last thing that I have to say is thank you. Thank you for making this happen, and thank you for the value that you continue to provide the industry, and know that you are appreciated and your reputation precedes you, and it's awesome. So thank you.
Well, thank you, Michael. This is funny. This is the earliest I've ever seen someone. The third comment, which came like a few minutes in, says, already this webinar gives the feel of being more beneficial than anyone I have ever been in. These guys don't just rant. Thanks for being legit. From Jason. So really good stuff. I got tons
Josh,
of great.
I don't want to interrupt. Hey, I hate to. Can you hear me? Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. Hey, my wife, who's on my Gen team, just came here and said that that the Eventbrite site that we use for orders has kind of been up and down, and we've had some people who are trying to order and it kind of shut down on them, and then they had to get back in. And here's what we're going to do, because we had an offer for the first 10. Well, they could have been one of the first 10, got knocked off, and now they're number 15 or whatever it may be. Here's what we're going to do, is we are going to honor the full Fast Action Taker bonus to everyone who does boostmarch.com and enters the Josh VIP. So we'll send them not only the audiobook, but we're going to also include the Blessings book and the action guide, because we can't tell who were necessarily one of the first 10. So everyone who will order will actually get the entire bundle shipped to them on our cost.
That's awesome. And for anybody wondering, like, if that is a legit, because I know there's some skeptical people out there. I have from Ann. I tried to sign up and it's not working. Some people asking about the code. I can't get Boost March to come up. So this is not some scheme Michael came up with.
You have one thing in life, and it's your reputation.
Yeah,
so
exactly.
I would rather not, just so you know, I would rather not ship the action guide and the blessings book to everyone,
exactly.
So you know
there's a real legitimate significant cost to do that. Absolutely. Okay, so let's maybe go to some questions. Now that it looks like that it's working okay. Let's go to some questions. Hey, I know that fella.
I just got it to come up.
So from Colleen, how long do we have access to the audios after the webinars?
The audio? Oh, you mean the replay of the webinar?
I think that's what she means. I think that's what she means. Yes.
Yeah, you have them for 7 full days. And you know what I forgot to tell you is that you also have my entire Gen team's coaching 24/7 during Boost. We are available 24/7, and we respond to every single email that comes in. Every question is answered, and you get a full months of coaching from our team as well. I forgot to include that, so thank her for asking that question. You get 7 days, right? And then the next session's up. So, then you're ready to go.
So, is this specifically for real estate agents, or are there specifics for loan officers too from Jack?
We have had over 50 different professions through Boost, and mortgage is, you're going to love it, right? The star of the book, 7L, is a mortgage professional named Michelle Phillips. She is actually the love interest, and she is the leader as to implementation and having success. So we, of course, have as many mortgage professionals as we do realtors through the program. So
right on. Yes. And so, so Jack, get signed up if you haven't already. Here from a new agent, no database. Where do I start? How would this help me?
God bless America. The people who have the biggest success right out of the gate are the new agents, and here's why. First of all, they haven't put together a database, so they don't have to go through the mess to have success, right? The other thing is, God, I wish Boost would have been available when I started in this business, because you know what I did? I blew some phenomenal relationships because I didn't understand the momentum system, and I did not understand the relationship scale. So the fact of the matter is it's perfect for them, because you're going to build great relationships from the get-go versus messing up some with good people, and then it's really hard to get somebody to go from a 6 to a 7 on the relationship scale. It's easier to take somebody from a 0 to a 10 than it is to take somebody from a 6 to a 7. So the fact of the matter is you're going to build 9, 10 relationships from the very beginning because you're going to know how to do that. You're going to know how to get into momentum and get harmonic relationships working for you instead of taking homeostatic relationships and moving that aircraft carrier to get into the referral zone. And just so everyone knows, is that one of the things that people find out through Boost is that their number one referral source is someone they actually meet during Boost, right? It's somebody that's not a past client. It's somebody that you didn't know before. You actually meet them during Boost, and since you are really honing in on building great relationships, you build a great relationship with that person, and they become your number one ambassador because you did it right the first time. So that new agent is in a great place.
Okay, some good news and bad news. Good news is clearly lots of you are taking action. Bad news is some of you are getting charged the wrong amount per the comments that we're getting. Could you bring up Boost March, Michael, and show where to put the promo code? And don't worry, Ann and Virginia, and there was a couple others. Don't worry, it'll be made right and quickly. So no worries there. Enter promotional code. Yep, enter promotional code right there, and then apply, and that'll correct the price for you. Maybe.
Whoa, that's weird. Oh, I'm on Boost. I was on the wrong Boost. All right, so I see enter promotional code. God, I hope this is right.
It worked for me. I'm doing it on a separate computer, and it worked fine for me. So you just have to hit the enter the promotional code, and then do that, and then hit the apply. And Michael, what should someone do if they were erroneously charged the wrong amount?
Well, what we're going to do is immediately refund the difference, right? So I don't know why it would do $397 or $297, but the bottom line is that, and it looks like we've got dozens and dozens of people who are trying to hit the site at the same time.
Yeah.
Sherry's here working that back end right now, and we've got over 30, 40 people who are taking us up on that right now. So the bottom line is we're going to make it right. I mean, what we have in life is reputation. So we're already making it right because all 30 to 40 that I've already ordered is we are going to ship you out the entire bundle. And the second thing is we have had that in the past, just so you know, is somebody entered a code and for some reason it did $497 instead of $397, and we just immediately refund the $100. In this case, we would refund $300.
And here to put people at ease,
$197, Josh.
Yeah.
I mean that is listen, I mean I'll guarantee that if you don't feel like you got a $197 out of it, then I'll give you $197 back because that's incredible. That's awesome.
Yeah, and so to put people at ease, Lynn said, Sherry already emailed me, took good care of me, I'm all squared away. So folks, don't worry, everything will be made right. And he's already taken a step. He's already taken the step to offer what he was only going to offer to 10 because again, these are actual fixed costs on these things. It costs them money to offer these, and so he's extending that to everybody. Let's see here.
Yeah, I think that's a valuable point. Is the fact of the matter is we're shipping you $1,000 worth of stuff, and we're going to need to ship that to you in a box and have shipping charges. So it's not like you're just ordering some marketing program that is entirely just digital, right? We have hard costs on this, but you know what? We want you to succeed. I think that's the biggest thing that people need to know about Michael Mayer is I don't create products to sell. I create products to make a difference. And here's the thing. You're like, well, you're the father and founder of the Generosity Generation. Why don't you just give it to us? Well, I want you to know something. I did that with my first Boost. I actually gave it to my board of advisors who helped me with my book. They actually read the book as it was being made and gave me feedback. And after it was done, they gave me some feedback and so on and so forth. And they also were great at spreading the word and helping me become a #1 international bestseller. Well, so I gave it to them. Guess what happened on the webinars? They did not participate. They did not take it seriously. They did not do anything with it at all. And you know why? It wasn't because the material wasn't good, and it wasn't because of them being bad people. It was because they had no skin in the game. The fact of the matter is charging a little bit. I mean, $197. Seriously, if you can't afford it, you need to do it. And if you can't afford it, you know the value of it. So it's one of those where I'm going to charge you a little bit so that you have skin in the game, and guess what happens? Because you paid a little bit for it, you're going to get more out of it. So anyway, I kind of went on a...
Yeah, no, this is funny. I'm going back up through the comments. I can't remember. It may have happened before, but I can't remember a time where, well before our guest was finished, people are like, where can we buy whatever he's got? It's hilarious. I love it. I mean, it's just awesome.
Thank you. I was actually speaking. I was actually speaking at a conference, and a gal came up as I was just starting, and she literally pulls me over and whispers in my ear when everybody's doing an exercise, and she goes, "I don't know what you're selling, but I'm buying it." And I was like, okay, I'm really not selling anything, but thank you for that. You know,
that's awesome.
And I want you to know, Josh, that is great, and it's also a phenomenal, pleasant burden, right? It is that people trust me, and when they trust me, we can't put out crap. We can't just shoot something out. I have a good friend of mine who wants to do something together, and it's like, it's not ready yet. It's not good enough. It's not going to make a difference. It's not going to change lives. So we haven't launched it. We literally have people Facebooking and emailing us saying, whatever you're doing together, we're buying. And the fact that, and we're just like, it's not ready yet. It's going to be right. And maybe that's the wrong way to do it, but I've found that that's what's helped me, establish the reputation that I have.
I've got another question here, and actually there's not as many questions as usual because I think people were so blown away by the content, and the content that you shared was complete, right? But I want to reiterate something and state something maybe in a different way. And you made the point that your ambassadors, your best referrers for Boost are the people who take action the fastest. And
that's correct.
And that's because, in general, the most successful people are the people willing to take action before they have all the answers. They know everything because they know that they figure it out on the way. They'll figure things out, right? And so that's absolutely why, those people, in your case, are the best, because the people who take action the fastest are also going to be the ones that implement the fastest. They're also going to be the one that get the results the fastest. So they're going to be the ones most likely to be raving fans. Funny how that all works. Here's
it really is.
Here's a good question by Norm. Maybe you could. I send referrals to a great loan officer who never sends me referrals in return. But I haven't found anybody that I trust to do as good a job for my clients. Any advice?
Yes. So I would educate your lender on how to get referrals. The very first thing is I would give the gift of a book or audio of 7L, which sounds really self-serving, but I want you to know, Norm, that's why I wrote the book. What's so funny is that this book was created to create referral conversations, right? So what you really want with this lender is a referral conversation, right? So give the book and then schedule another follow-up, and what you want is an ambassador who is out there helping your business as much as you are, right? And I'll give you an example from the lender relationship is one thing you could do together is throw a housewarming party for your next client, right? And in the book, I not only talk about the housewarming parties, but I actually give you the entire housewarming party system. It's all in the book. So you could throw a housewarming party together and partner on the coordination and partner on the follow-up and partner on the actual event, and all of a sudden your costs have gone to half, and the productivity of the event actually goes through the roof. So it's about having a referral conversation with that lender. And I have lenders who say, well, I'm getting 4 referrals from a real estate agent, and sometimes I just give 1. Well, here's the thing, lenders, is A, there's other ways to give value besides referrals, and B, is that, so become better at your consumer referral marketing and communication, right, which includes a communications plan. So the answer is a realtor and a mortgage professional are better together, right? It's better to do these things together, because here's the other thing, Norm, is your lender should be championing you and cross-selling you to your clients, right? They should be talking highly about you, just like you're talking highly about that lender, and that cross-selling makes for a more powerful relationship with the client and leads to more referrals.
Right on. And Norm's already signed up. Norm was who asked the question. So, yeah. Norm, you're going to get a ton of value from this, no question. He did ask, could you repeat the days and times of the live sessions, knowing that they get access if they can't make it live? But I have some questions from several people asking about that.
Great question. So it's Tuesdays in March. Okay, so we have. By the way, I mean, it's not like I go into this casually, right? The number 1 and number 2 days for trainings are Mondays and Tuesdays. The reason those are the 2 best days for training is because you have all week to marinate on it, think about it, and you have the week to implement it. So our Boost classes are always on Mondays or Tuesdays. In March, they are on the 4 Tuesdays of March. So why Tuesday instead of Monday? Well, Monday, March 17th is St. Patty's Day, right? So we avoided St. Patty's Day and went with the next afternoon. It's 4 to 5:30 Eastern, 4 to 5:30 Eastern. I coach all day Mondays and all day Tuesdays, but I leave open times 4 to 5:30 Eastern because I'm Eastern time. And that's when we do Boost.
Okay, so when Michael had said it before, he said 2 times, but they were 2 different times. He was saying the time in 2 different time zones. I think maybe that was
1 to 2:30.
Right.
Yeah, 1 to 2:30 Pacific. Yep.
Right. Lavana, who is our new agent who asked the question, has joined. Or Lavan, I'm sorry. Good for you, Lavan.
Thank you, Lavan.
Could you let's finish with this. Could you summarize again the bonuses, because there was a lot there and some people are and then we'll go ahead and wrap up.
Yeah, maybe too much, right? But the bottom line is that they are going to be armed to the gills with what we're doing, and that's what I want. You're going to be able to follow along in the 7L Action Guide. You're going to be able to take notes in the Blessings book, and you're going to be able to listen to the audio all month in your car to totally immerse yourself into the 7L system. So you're going to get the Blessings book, which will be shipped out to you. It's the exact same Blessings book that I use every single day. And in fact, when we go into the restaurant to eat at night, I take my Blessings book. When I go to anything, I have the Blessings book. And just so you know, it fits in a purse. And for guys, if you have a sport coat, it fits in the side pocket of your sport coat. So you can easily have it with you and put it where you need to. Also, you're going to get all 4 CDs of the audio book. It has bonus materials on it just in itself. It has a bonus intro, a bonus follow-up to the back end, and it is me reading the book, which you have no idea the pain that went. It took me a while to do that and a lot of cost. But guess who told me that, right? Zig Ziglar. And by the way, if Zig Ziglar gives you advice, what do? You do it, right? And Zig Ziglar was like, Michael, your clientele are realtors. You need to know that they are in automobile university more than any other profession. So you need to get your butt in a studio somewhere and do that audio book right now. Understood? Yes, Mr. Ziegler, completely understood. And I literally that day booked a studio in Orlando, Florida, while I was on vacation, mind you, and started the audiobook. True story. The last thing is the action guide. People are wanting more on the 7L system. They read the book. There's 108 referral generating strategies in the book, and it's hard to digest 108. So the action guide is 400 pages. And inside that action guide is the actual copy of the book, is the actual writing of the book, but it also has information on it to help them progress through the 7L system and create a WOW referral system.
Awesome. Boosting.
And I apologize to everyone for the Eventbrite issues. We have only had that at one other time, and it's usually from a volume of interest at one time.
Yeah.
So my apologies, and it's with my pleasure that I will send you the entire bundle to make that right.
Awesome. Kathy, yeah, you will have you have access to the replays if you can't get there live. Absolutely, because everybody has different schedules and so forth. So, Michael, I appreciate you being on here and delivering massive value. Whether or not people are deciding to take Boost, which many of you are from the comments. Many of you are, which is awesome. But regardless, there was a ton of, there were a ton of things that you can and should leave with and apply immediately, right? So that you can get some results and then maybe take Boost the next time around if it truly is a monetary reason. Even though I agree 100% with what Michael said, if you can't afford it, that means you need this, right? And if you can, most likely you understand the value. It was a great point. Absolutely. Any final words for everyone, Michael, before we let everybody get going?
You know what? I hadn't planned on any of this, but I do have just a final thing is that, there's a downward spiral of life, right? We saw Charlie Sheen, we saw Britney Spears kind of go on this downward spiral of life, and we got to see it on the media. We got to see it on TV and in the magazines and in the newspapers and on the internet. And I have a theory on that. And what happened is that they went on a downward spiral because they started feeling. They both hit number one, and it's like, where do I go once I hit number one? And they quit doing a very important thing, and they quit learning, right? And so if there's a downward spiral, there must be an upward spiral of life. And I truly believe that there is an upward spiral of life, and we need to think of it as a spiral staircase into the heavens. And on that first step, to take the first step up this spiral staircase to heaven, it has a letter L on it. And that L is for learn. So everybody learned something today. They either learned something new or they learned that they should be doing something they already knew about. And the second step is very valuable. The second step has an I, right? Because life is L-I-F-E, right? The second step is implement. You've learned something. Now you need to implement what you've learned. Come hell or high water, you're going to implement it, and you may screw it up totally, but you're going to do it. That's right, implement. And speaking of the third step has an F on it, of course, and the F stands for fail, right? Failing is just part of life. You're going to learn, you're going to implement, you're not going to do it perfectly, so you're going to fail at some level, right? And then the fourth step is E for evaluate. You need to evaluate what you just learned, implemented, and failed at. Does it align with your values? Does it feel good? Does it help you achieve your goals? Does it help you and your family's relationship, right? Well, you don't stop at that evaluation. You need to take the fifth step, the next step on the upward spiral staircase, on the upward spiral of life. And the next step has an L on it. And you need to learn some more about what you just learned, implemented, failed, and evaluated. But the thing is are you learning at the same level? You're not. You're learning at a higher level so that you can implement at a higher level. You fail, but you know what? You're failing at a higher level. And then E is you are evaluating with more experience and at a higher level. Then you can learn some more, implement some more, fail some more, evaluate some more, and you get onto this wonderful upward spiral staircase to heaven, and that is the upward spiral of life. It starts with learning, and the next step is implementing, knowing that the next step with implementing is failing, and that you're going to evaluate, does it feel good? Does it align with my values? Does it help me achieve my goals? Does it help my relationship with my family? And if it does, you're going to move on. So get on the upward spiral of life.
That was so good. I wrote it on my, as you were saying it, I have a whiteboard behind me. And I drew a staircase with that alone, for me anyway, was well worth the time we just spent together. Holy smokes. I'm going to be sharing that, and I will give you full credit for that. I've never heard anyone describe that process the way you just did, and that is beautiful. Beautiful. Could not be said better.
Thank you.
Awesome. Michael, thank you for everything. And I can't wait to hear back from our community on their results with Boost. So
well, thank you very much, and just know that you're appreciated, and everyone is appreciated, and we still have hundreds on.
Yeah, that's the cool thing.
And thank you.
So Boost March
says a ton about our host.
Yeah, boostmarch.com, and then the promo Josh VIP. Thank you all for being here. Thank you all for taking action and getting access. Michael, thank you. And everybody go and take action on what you learned today, whether or not you've made a decision to get Boost.